so much of like the culture, if anything, it's about Jesus. It's like shoved directly, like it's really upfront. It's not, obscure, or it's like great storytelling where the Christian themes come out, where it's not overtly, where it's, banging you over the head. And then it's an entryway for other people who may be not religious. That's part of the thing that we talk about a lot here. It's like, yeah, we have like Angel Studios, but they're starting to figure that out too, like with Cabrini, where it's not so, yeah, it's a saint, but you would just watch it because it's a great story and a great movie.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of the old way that they've done Christian movies and TV was just like hokey, so it's good to see that the music, you're not just saying Jesus, 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 and like, doing worship songs, which we need those too, but you're using these themes and, art in a way like Flannery O'Connor did, where it's can draw maybe some people, or maybe on the fringes, or they can relate to, hey, I get drunk and the next day I feel bad, and I drink Diet Coke and I sin, stuff like that, where people really can relate to stuff like that, versus like this like that lady that you were talking about in that story, where it's like looking down at people. It's a different entryway, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's refreshing.
Yeah.
Catholic art at its peak is something that triggers the imagination. We don't have to be afraid of imagination. We don't have to be afraid of getting people to think about what it is we're trying to say and conveying the gospel to them. And so you're right. I remember watching stuff like Fireproof, like these Christian movies or older Christian music, and it's like it's too on the nose with the message. Mm-hmm. So it's only attracting a small, even smaller niche demographic. But when you can do something like what you guys are doing, using a genre, being creative within it, and underlaying Christian values and messaging, it can trigger not just the imagination, but greater appeal. And so I guess my question to you, Father, is what is it about country music? What is it about bluegrass music that you guys feel like lends itself to this sort of Catholic creativity?
Yeah, I think that's very well put. I think part of it is that that's the kind of music that we like to play, and that like to listen to. And so, and it's a style of music that is very, it's only good if it's authentic. Like I personally never liked bluegrass music until I heard somebody playing it live, like in somebody's living room. And I was like, oh, like this music is amazing. Mm. But when something's like overproduced, or like you hear it in like kind of a context where it doesn't belong, it doesn't really fit. And so I think part of the authenticity of our lyrics comes with like just the genre of music. Like it's music that's meant for like everyday life, for, that you listen to in your kitchen, on your porch, that sort of thing. Mm. And it's not overproduced. And we take very seriously, to your point about like making the importance of art and producing good art, that we take very seriously like the work of making something that we're artistically proud of. Mm. That we like when we record, we're not really like professional studio musicians, but we take a lot of time and like thought and effort into like producing something that we're proud of, and then something that we would like to listen to ourselves. And actually, one thing that was, so we just finished this tour, and we played a couple of venues that were like, you have professional sound crews. We played a theater in Knoxville called the Bijou, which is like a standard place where bands will come in and play. And the sound crew there is like, when we were loading in, we're a bunch of 7 Dominicans showing up looking like that. And they're like, who are these guys? And there's a bunch of, like, they're tattoos everywhere, piercings, purple hair, like they're part of the music industry. And after our sound check, they were like, you guys are really tight. Like you, like, they were like, you could see them like, kind of like, they're like being surprised, like, oh, you guys actually like play good music.
You got some street cred. Yeah. It's like, oh, you're one of us. You're not just pretending.
Right.
Cool.
What I love about that, just hearing your perspective on it, what you guys are trying to capture, we hear a lot of, and not to go down that, we love tangents on the show. That's why we go for like 2 hours at a time.
We love right into the rabbit hole with you. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure you could hold your
parallel universe theory.
Oh, we are going to get along just well, Father Simon. We got to have you back on the show. But so, not to take us down a tangent too far, I think one of the things that we hear about a lot is the culture is not Catholic, or we're getting pushback And so we're going to retreat into our own camp, and we're going to surround ourselves with other Catholics who think like us, who pray like us, who act like us, who look like us, who do the pieties that we do. But that's not what we're called to be. Jesus sends us out into the world. And so, yes, the culture in many ways is fallen, and it's the result of the sin that we all carry, right? We've heard that on the show, but we have to break into that culture. And so to see you guys enter into this genre with being bearers of the gospel light, I mean, that's just an awesome thing just to be proud of as Catholics, that we can break into these spaces. You can be 7 guys that look like the way you guys look with your habits and show and just crush it at a show. And then you've got these guys who, I mean, they're tatted up, they're roadies, they're whatever they are. And it's like, wow, these priests, they're just normal guys. I can relate to these guys.
Yes.
I mean, the fact that you guys were on the Billboard charts, what was that like? I mean, your new record, number 2, that's an amazing accomplishment.
Yeah, that was very cool. So yeah, we were 2 weeks as number 2, right behind Billy Strings. So we on the Billboard Bluegrass Top 10 charts. Yeah, and that's just amazing. It's beautiful to see what God is doing with our music, and the way that God like works. I mean, as a Dominican, to get theological, that grace builds on nature. That that God's taking our natural gifts, our natural interests, the things we love to do, and He's using as an instrument. And part of to go back to what you were saying about reaching into the culture is, in some ways it seems to us, or it can feel to us like it's almost like a side effect of what we do, because we're playing music, and after the show we'll go and talk to people, and you'll get Southern Baptist pastor who drove 3 hours with his wife to come to the show, and he's like, I've been listening to you guys for years, like I love your music, and I'd love to have you come play for my congregation. And it's like, in what other situation,
wow,
a Southern Baptist pastor inviting a bunch of Dominicans to come preach to their congregation? It's like because we're doing something where we connect on people on a human level through music, which has its own power of working in people's lives, that it just opens so many doors. It's been a really cool experience.
And not shying away from like wearing your habits. Like that's part of like, I think that's what's attractive to people. There's like, well, what are they, why are they wearing those things? That it just opens up the door for those kind of questions, which I'm sure you're like, wait, what? You're a priest? Like, how are you? Like, it just opens up that door of like, okay, like you look like a Shaolin monk or something. Like, what do you got? Like, it's like, no, we're Dominicans, we like to preach, and we love St. Thomas and stuff like that. So it does open up, like the music beauty is the entryway, to get to eventually those conversations where you can talk about the truth, or, hey, this is why I'm Catholic and this is what I believe. But I think that jarring, kind of like a Flannery O'Connor, where it's jarring that we're playing bluegrass in our habits. It's like, that's very Flannery O'Connor just there, because it's just a jarring image. The first time I saw you guys was, I think you guys were playing at Grand Ole Opry. You guys were on the stage, and I don't know if it went viral. That's how I saw a clip. I'm like, I remember just stopping the feed, like, whoa, what's going on? And it was just jarring in a good way, but that is sometimes we need those kinds of like where it almost seems like paradoxical that you're a priest and you're wearing your habit and you're playing music, whatever genre, even if you're in a rock band, whatever genre of music, it just doesn't. Priests are only belong in churches, and that's it. So I think it does just in that, just you guys embracing your order and having that front and center really does help people to start asking questions. Okay, well, what's a Dominican? Maybe they start Googling it, or then they're looking up Flannery O'Connor, and then that can lead to different things. So I think there's importance of us not retreating from the culture, but to go it authentically as ourselves. And we really appreciate the witness that you guys are bold to be out there, because we know obviously it's not always easy to be front and center as a priest in the culture, because that's just the way the culture is. But to be brave and to be bold and to be Catholic out there